Warriors are heading to their 5th straight final, so it is no surprise they're a heavy favorite over the Raptors. The series starts Thursday in Toronto, and the Warriors are expected to be without Kevin Durant for the 6th straight game. The Raptors may be underdogs, but they did sweep the season series from the Warriors. Interesting there. Shannon, who will win the finals?
Skip, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something very interesting. I'm going to pick the Warriors at 6. But I'm probably going to lay my money down on the Raptors.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Because, Skip, I'm trying to win money. But anyway.
Well, is it your pride or your money? Which is it? Which is it?
I think I like money a little more than
pride. Okay, so pick Toronto.
No.
Okay.
You see, you know what? You want me to pick Toronto when they lose, you're going to see, I told you, you had your trust in number 2.
If you pick Toronto, I would not blame you. Seriously.
I'm going to take the Warriors in 6, but I believe this series, even though I don't believe Kevin Durant will play, is going to be better than people anticipate. I know Vegas is laying all them at its heavy, Skip, heavy favorite. Even over only the Cavs last year were more of an underdog than what these Raptors are.
Over the last 8 years.
Yes. Than
Correct.
what these Raptors are in this series.
Okay.
If you go back and look at it, the Raptors took both games from them. Now, the game in Toronto, Steph nor Draymond played, and KD went wild, had 51.
He did.
Then they go to Oracle. Kawhi didn't play, and they still won.
By 20. They won by 20. Without their guy, without your guy.
I've never seen a team that can execute better offensively or defensively in the last 4 to 5 minutes of a ball game like the Golden State Warriors can.
True.
They are flawless in their execution. They don't make mistakes. I think Steph Curry has learned his lesson. He don't attempt any behind-the-back passes, skipping those moments anymore. It's a chest pass. It's a nice, solid bounce pass. He's going to get the ball to point A to point B without the fanfare. What concerns me is that who do they have for Kawhi? That's what concerns me, Skip. And Kawhi doesn't have the guy that he needs to worry about on the other end, which is KD. So, I'm trying to think. Are they going to start put Kawhi on Steph? Are they want him to? I don't know if they want him to chase start. Now maybe in the 4th quarter, Skip, the game's tough. I can see Kawhi sliding.
I'm going to guess it's mostly Clay to number 2.
Okay.
Vice versa.
So you think Clay?
That's what I think.
You think Clay will start out on?
I think so.
On Kawhi. Okay, I can see. I can see that. What surprised me most, Skip, especially say the last 5 to 6 games, is the production that the Warriors have gotten from their bench. Their bench has been terrible this regular season. But for whatever the reason, Steve Kerr has confidence in these guys, and where most teams are playing 7, 8 guys total, Steve Kerr emptied his bench.
He does.
Quinn Cook, Looney, all these guys, McKinney, all these guys are getting, Jerebko, all these guys are getting somewhere 8 to 12 to 20. I think Kevon Looney ended up playing like 24 minutes the other day. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Warriors in 6. But I don't believe it's going to be the cakewalk that people think it's going to be because this is the Warriors.
So, you want to change? I'm going to give you one shot.
No.
You're leaning.
No,
I'm going to give you a shot right here.
No, I think one of the wheels off on my chair. That's why I'm leaning. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, you're leaning toward Toronto. So, to all your points, the real mind-boggler to me is that you gave the overall stat, biggest underdog except for last year's LeBron Cavs in the last 8 years. Right. But here's what is the conundrum. Would you believe that Toronto, remember, Toronto is at home for game 1. They've got home court advantage in the finals. Why did they have home court advantage? Because they finished 1 game ahead of Golden State. Why did they finish 1 game ahead? They beat them twice. Yeah. So those 2 head-to-heads, even though they came early in the season, late November, fairly early December, those 2 determined home court in the finals. That's a huge thing to me.
So true.
Whew, you would think that Golden State would have home. Nope, they don't have home court.
This is the first time, Skip, so this is uncharted territory.
You got it.
You've never seen them open the finals on the road.
Okay, so game 1, guess what happened? Toronto at home opened as a 1.5 underdog. Only a 1.5, not like it was 8 or 10 points. Like usually every Golden State Portland game, it was always up around 10 points, right?
Right.
Okay, they open as a 1.5 point dog at home, and the public jumps all over Toronto and bets them all the way to a 1 point favorite at home. And I am with the public on this game. I believe Toronto will win game 1. The Warriors have been off all these days. It's always the rest versus rust question. I think rust will prevail. The other big difference maker in this whole series is we finally got to hear our man Kevin Durant speak the other day. It was after our show on Friday. And what did it sound like to you? Sounds like he wants to come back and play in the finals, right?
Yes.
And he still sticks in his craw that people are trying to make the case that they're better without him. And he's saying that's not the facts.
Right.
Because he can show you what he's done. Yeah, you see what he did against Toronto. He scored 51, and then he scored, what do you have, 30 in the other game that they lost at home by 20?
Right.
But he put up 81 total points in 2 games against Toronto. So, again, Steve Kerr is under extraordinary pressure to try to force Kevin, I believe, back into the, not just the rotation, but the starting lineup, obviously. And I don't know, game 3, game 4.
Right.
Doesn't it sound like it's heading in that direction?
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, for me, is that I believe Golden State will win one of these first 2 games. I don't know if they'll win the game 1 or game 2, but I believe they'll win one of those.
If they do, fine.
Yes.
So when they go back to Oracle, will Kevin be ready to play? He hadn't done any basketball activities that I'm aware of yet. Really?
That's the
but
thing,
it seems like if you want to have any shot at keeping him in Golden State, there's probably little to no shot. But if you have any shot at all, you're going to have to succumb to his wishes that he wants to show you he can still play. Am I right?
I think the pressure would be heightened if they go down 0-2.
Okay.
Going back to the
Let's say
Oracle.
they do. Well, okay, then they have to go back.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard, do you realize what a chemistry experiment on the fly it's going to be to try to fit him back in after they have found the old 73-9 chemistry and flow? Am I right?
Yes.
It could be very disruptive to their success.
Right.
If DeMarcus Cousins says, I'm ready to play, coach, send me in.
No, we good.
Okay? Probably you can get away with telling him you're good.
Yeah.
But will Steve try to play him for 5 minutes or 7 minutes or try to get him a little run since he's probably not in basketball shape?
Right. And that's the thing you worry about with KD, Skip.
Okay, do they not have a good rhythm going with Kevon Looney and all the, you just listed all of them. Every time I looked up, somebody was doing something off the bench.
Skip, the thing is that, and Kevin gets so upset, Kevin, they're not better, they're different. The ball moves more when you're not in the ball game for the simple fact you're a tremendous ISO player. Skip, if we need a bucket, if shots are not dropping, all Steve Kerr is going to do is hold up one finger. He's going to give the ball to Kevin Durant. He's going to clear a side so the double team can't come. And Kevin Durant's going to take a couple of dribbles, turn over his left or his right shoulder, and give you a bucket. The other guys can't do that, Kevin. So the ball is different. The ball moves more. It's not that you're a bad player. It's nothing wrong with you adding an element to the game that they don't possess. What you did, you joined a great team. And you made them unbeatable, KD. But if you think they were on life support before you got there and you resuscitated them, you're being disingenuous and you're fooling yourself.
Okay. What did we just see in the fourth quarter of Game 5 against Houston, then all of Game 6 versus Houston? We saw new Warriors. We saw new flow. We saw Steph play the best basketball of his career. That's going to get threatened if Kevin is forced back into the quote-unquote flow. It's not going to flow anymore.
Because if you bring him back, Skip, how does Steph Curry feel comfortable taking 30 shots? Clay gets 21.
No, can't.
Because you remember...
Even Draymond will not feel as comfortable.
You remember the game in which they lost, they had that 31-point lead. Steph and Clay had about 45, 50 shots between the two, and KD took 9.
Okay. So what do you think it means right now to the psyche of the Toronto Raptors that they beat Golden State twice? I know it was a long time ago, but
I feel
it means
good. We can do it again. Yes.
It just means a lot because they had a big lead in the fourth quarter of the first game at home against Kevin scoring 51. Then he hit 2 late threes in that game, late threes, that forced overtime. Steve Kerr called it after the game. an incredibly fun game for fans to watch. Right. It was a shootout, and it goes to overtime. And guess who took over in overtime? Siakam. He's underrated. He's becoming a star right before your very eyes. Number 2 in overtime went 0 for 2, so he was no factor. Siakam was the man who scored in overtime, scored 7 of their 12 points. So they win that game. Then they go to Oracle with no number 2. What do you think it means to the supporting cast that they went in there and just hammered them by 20? You don't think that matters right now? I do. And I got to tell you, the supporting cast, we went back and forth about it, but the more I watched Toronto, the more the team grew on me. And I'll throw number 2. He's obviously a gifted player, especially on defense. So defensively, this team is way underrated.
Well, they're long. I mean, you look at Siakam, you look at Marc Gasol, 7 foot tall. Danny Green is not the defensive player that he once was. No, but he's still pretty tenacious, Skip.
He has made an all-defense team.
And Serge Ibaka.
2-time block champ.
Kyle Lowry try to play some defense. He's not great, but he'll try.
No, I'm surprised Kyle Lowry hasn't made second-team all-defense. He can play at that level. He is a bulldog on defense. And Siakam's going to make some all-defensive teams. My point is, they go 6 deep, and then if you want to throw Norman Powell in there, he can defend. All of a sudden, you want to talk about hard to score against? They're a handful as a defensive team. They're going to cause the Warriors some problems that Portland had no thought of causing.
I totally agree with you. Skip, what are we going to do about Danny Green?
Okay, I'll tell you what you should do about him. In 2013, in the NBA Finals, in just 5 games, he broke the all-time three-point make record that had belonged to Ray Allen. Now, since it's been broken by Steph. But the point is, I know him inside and out. I watched him all those years in San Antonio. Trust me. He will heat up when you least expect it. And when he heats up, he goes crazy hot. Really? Right now, Van Vliet is crazy hot. He's made 14 of his last 17 threes. If that continues and Danny finds the range, he will find the range. They're going to be a handful. So here's my prediction. Okay. I believe that they're going to lose game 1, Golden State. I believe that the Durant, DeMarcus stuff will just be disruptive to the flow, and they're going to have to fight, scratch, claw their way back into this series. I think it'll go 7 games, and I believe Golden State will win Game 7 at Toronto. At Toronto. Game 7 at Toronto, because this is just me. I still don't trust number 2 in a 4th quarter against Steph and Clay. I just don't.
But I know I might take Toronto in Game 1.
Okay, I do too. I agree.
I mean, they're playing well. They're really playing well. But like I said, Skip, I don't know the answer for Kawhi. I know Clay is a great defender, but Kawhi is
Clay is 6'7", so don't underestimate his length and height. You know, so he can hang with him.
Okay, we got our predictions in.
Old Klaus,
no making changes
do I know him? I know him. I know him way better than anybody.
You like old Klaus? You like old Klaus, Skip?
Oh, let's stay talking about that guy, shall we?